evening. Welcome again to our program, Women to Women. I'm Carol Paz, your hostess, and we have a returnee, a delightful lady that you've met before, and I'll introduce her to you again in just a few moments. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsors for the first half of the program. Viva Basque Deli and Cafe, home of Pete's famous Basque chorizo, right here in Carson City, made on the grounds, and it is delicious. We'd also like to thank Carpa Nevada, LLC, importer of fine Portuguese olive oils and aged balsamic vinegar, as well as international health teas. And finally, but not last, we'd like to thank carsonnow.org, the 24/7 website place to go. When you want to know what's happening here in Carson City, it's carsonnow.org. So I'd like to introduce and welcome back JoEtta.
Hello.
JoEtta Brown. You know, JoEtta has been with us in several different stages of her life. And when I spoke to her last, this is a very special time. I have been through it, and there are many women out there who have, some of them much younger than we, some of them much older, but it never fails to, it's a new chapter. And JoEtta, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for being with us, and thank you so much for wanting to share this widowhood and this new step into a brand new book, a brand new chapter in your book about what you are doing now. So to kind of catch our viewers and our listeners up to date, you're originally from, your family grew up in the California area, and you have been in banking a great deal. That is where your career lies, your past.
Correct, yes.
Okay. So when you came to Nevada, I think if I remember correctly, that it was not that far away. You wanted your children to have a great education. You took care of that. And then when you were ready to retire, and your husband more or less, you found that the Lake Tahoe, Douglas County area was to your liking.
Yes.
And that's where you still reside.
Yes, 14 years now.
Okay. And you and your husband were married for how many years?
53 years.
And that's really a special note, okay, in today's world. Anytime it is. And his first name again was?
James Brown.
So did he have that rhythm like the other James Brown?
No, he could not dance or sing like that. He tried.
Okay.
But he played football when he was much younger. And there's another James Brown, the football player.
Yes, there is, of the Cleveland Browns, by the way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what I wanted to ask, JoEtta, did you have any idea that this was going to happen back in June of this summer?
No idea whatsoever. I knew he had a heart condition, but he seemed to be improving. So I had no idea it would end drastically like it did. And I don't think any of us know when our time will come. We can't prepare for that. The only thing we can do is prepare financially.
You know, as we shared some thoughts before the show went on, you're right. And that's a very down-to-earth statement. We think in our minds and emotionally that we can prepare for the death of a loved one, whether it's a husband, a wife, an aunt, an uncle, a sister, a brother, a really great friend, but it hits, the impact is so intense, so deep, that it almost leaves us speechless.
Correct.
When it happens.
Yes.
So you had shared some special moments in Las Vegas prior to his death this year, right?
Right. We are both, he was as involved as I was in politics and nonprofit organizations, as long as they were delivering what they said they would as an organization. So I am a member, and so was Jimmy, of the Alliance for Retired Americans, and they held their Western Regional Conference in Las Vegas in April, and he was there. And it was a special election, and that's where I was elected to the executive vice president of the national board of the Alliance for Retired Americans, which is based out of Washington, D.C. So he was there to see it. He's always encouraged me, and I've encouraged him to be involved. Not always, sometimes it would end in, okay, if you really want to do that, then do it. But it was there, no hesitation to keep us from doing that. So it's very soon. I just came back from Washington, but I knew he would want me to have done that because he was there when I was elected, and the work is so important even to us, even to me now as a widow. I had no idea.
There's kind of a legacy that you're helping him to continue with, that you both
Yes.
shared in. And that's a wonderful feeling to have.
Yes.
Because in a husband-wife team, one or the other of you is going to go first.
Yes.
And you share so many hopes, you share so many conversations, and involvement with sometimes separate activities, but quite often the same activities.
Yes.
And even though your interests might not totally be the same, there's a place for you. And there's a need for you. So had you and James talked over that possibility of whoever went first? Did that ever come up in any conversation prior to
No.
his death?
Actually not. No, we didn't.
Okay.
Maybe the financial part of it, maybe the house that we bought to retire in. But no, not in detail. We didn't think about it. I think we were too busy enjoying being retired. After all, having worked 30 years, each one of us, in a profession that took a lot of our time,
Yes.
we were so happy to have our own
Time.
free time
Yeah.
to do the traveling we wanted
Yes.
to and see the children and just enjoy the community. So we got very involved in Douglas County, and we enjoyed that very much. I was very pleasantly surprised at the support group that we had built by the people that came to the services.
Okay.
There's over 250 people that
Wow,
came.
that's a lot.
And we go to St. Gall's. So I have this support base here
Yes, yes.
for me.
That means a lot.
Yes, but the problem is that everyone thinks I should eat. So if I eat all the meals, I will be more roly-poly than I am now.
Okay.
But food is good. It's a way of exchanging on a positive basis.
Yes. What were some of the moments, if you will share this with us, that were kind of shockers to realize, okay, here's this man that's been in your life for 53 years, father of your children, co-colleague, so to speak, in career, and a real enthusiast for now the retirement years. So all of that is a part of who you are today. And yet, the cold facts of reality, when a spouse dies, the support group does not necessarily come from the federal government or from Social Security or from Medicare.
No.
What are some of the things that women may be surprised to learn?
I have to say this first, Carol.
Okay.
The real thrust of the Alliance for Retired Americans is to protect Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. So I made
Wonderful.
my appointment like I was directed to
Okay.
about 2 weeks after Jimmy's death to go to the nearest Social Security office,
Right.
which I had not done before. I had done some things by phone, but I'd not been in a facility.
Okay.
And that's very soon after a person's death.
Yes.
So I knew it was in Reno. That's where I was to go, not Carson City. And you take your little number like you might take a number in a meat market. And so then I looked around and I thought, okay, there are people here. Some are widows, some are widowers, some are clearly disabled, some are begging for you to make a different decision for me today so I can have money. And I sat there and I watched the drama of humanity. And when it was my turn,
It's a good way to put it.
it was truly a
I remember.
drama. So they did take and put me in an area to the side behind a door with private. And so the person that was waiting on me told me all the benefits. And he told me, you will be receiving this, this, and this, but you'll be receiving $255 for the burial of your husband. And I said, really? You're kidding me. And we don't have this, we don't focus on this in our protection of Social Security. And I had already done it all. I knew that it was more than $7,000. So what is $250 going to do for me? Or $255 going to do for me?
Right.
Then you go through the numbers game there. It'll tell you how much you'll get once they divide, and he showed me the figures and what have you. And I thought, after 30 years of paying into the plan, I have that because my grandmother didn't have that, because it was not in existence at that time.
Nor my mother.
Right. So what did she do when my grandfather passed away, and he passed away early. And then I said, my mother had Social Security and those benefits, but not what we're getting today, which is not enough because it hasn't been increased to make sense in today's world with the cost of living.
Correct. Now, and there are some who have gone through perhaps the experience of losing a spouse, and some who have not, who are very young, who are old. But there is this mentality out there that Social Security is an entitlement. And I don't mean to in any way degrade the $255.
No.
I don't mean to say that they should pay the entire $8,000, $7,000 funeral expense. But it's kind of a shock, as you say, to pay in for 30 years. And then why hasn't change kept up with the times? So how did you handle that, JoEtta?
Well, I knew, being the banker that I am, even retired, I had done some things to make sure there would be funds to take care of burial.
Right.
But not everyone thinks that way.
That's right.
Because we don't think about death at all. We'd rather think about whatever else. When you say entitlement, to me that's almost a dirty word. Because when you first get your Social Security card, and the very first job that you have, and you use that number, you are paying into the plan.
Correcto.
You might be 18 years old, and why are you paying into an insurance policy that guarantees and has for 75 years to pay you, when you retire, what you have put into it? It pays no more and no less. Has it kept up with times? No. And we need to look at that. We need to make sure it's solvent for our children and our grandchildren and beyond that. And it is. And you hear that it is not. That's why we should privatize it. That's why it's an entitlement. It is not any of those things, and those things should not happen to it. So I am aware that there's fault to it. But without Social Security, think about what would happen to so many men and women and people who are disabled and widows.
And we want to come back to that in the second half. And in addition to that discussion, you have some really important facts that I think are important for people to pick up as these little nuggets of knowledge. And we'll be right back for the second half, so don't go away. Thank you.
Are you looking for a healthier lifestyle? A more nutritious diet? Do you care about quality? If your answer is yes, or if you are just curious, come into Villa Basque Deli and Cafe right here in Carson City, Nevada. Discover fine Portuguese extra virgin olive oils, vintage balsamic vinegars, and a wide assortment of international health teas provided by distributor Carpa Nevada LLC. In addition to these terrific items, Villa Basque is also the home of Pete's famous Basque chorizo, handmade on the premises from Pete's secret family recipe. Satisfy your culinary curiosities. Don't delay.
Hi, I'm Stephen Lincoln with CarsonCityHomes.com, Carson City's original online real estate resource.
At CarsonCityHomes.com, you get effective and easy-to-use tools to help you select your next home today. With our easy-to-use website, you can search listings throughout Northern Nevada and narrow the results by selecting every facet, quirk, and quality you desire. Visit CarsonCityHomes.com.
Come to the Carson Horseshoe Club for fun and friendly service. Play your favorite games. Join our Players Club, where you get cash for points plus food comps, and enjoy casual dining in our Lucky Horse Grill. Get it all in the heart of downtown Carson City at the family-owned, local favorite Carson Horseshoe Club.
We always knew that when we had another baby, we would love it if I could stay home. The kids shape what we do. Everything's about them. So we had to make a lot of changes. Quick Balance is this really nice feature of the Bank of the West app. The more I check into my balance, the easier it is for me to stay on track. You don't even have to log in. Hold on tight. You're on call, 24/7. Every minute that the app saves me is a minute that I can spend with my family. And that means everything to me.
Apex SCF provides cutting-edge, hands-on training that effectively addresses today's threats of violence.
The Apex Stay Alive course teaches proven methods for personal protection and attack countermeasures that can be applied in any environment. In your home, at the workplace, or on campus, Apex will teach you the necessary skills to stay alive, including how to recognize and react to an active shooter scenario.
If you knew you had to fight for your life tomorrow, would you train today? Contact us now to sign up for a class in your region.
Welcome back to the second portion of Women to Women. We're here with JoEtta Brown, and she's helping us understand that once you separate through widowhood, okay, some of the things that we're faced with in terms of our Social Security and in terms of our Medicare. But before we get into that discussion or back to it, I'd like to thank our sponsors for the second half of the show. We'd like to thank Dr. Kent Gabriel, MD, noted plastic surgeon right here in Carson City. His specialty is microsurgery of the hands. We'd also like to thank the Carson Horseshoe Club, located in downtown Carson City in the historic district. If you'd like to have a delicious breakfast, delicious lunch, why not stop in and see their newly renovated dining area? And we'd also like to thank Bank of the West, which is customer friendly. Bank of the West is located here in Carson City, and when you walk in, they know your name, Bank of the West. So let's return to JoEtta. Okay, JoEtta, there are some probably important facts that we, as an American nation, as a nation of people, need to know when we are paying into Social Security, when we are expecting some Medicare benefits, etc. And I'd like you to, if you want to address our audience out there eye to eye, because they are important nuggets of information, or we can just give them to me.
One of the most important facts is about 165 million workers contribute to Social Security through payroll taxes.
That's a lot.
Nearly 58 million people receive monthly Social Security benefits. That include 41 million receive their retirement benefits at retirement age, 6 million receive survivors' benefits like widows and widowers, and 11 million receive disability benefits. They've paid into this. 75 years of delivering what was promised through your contribution through payroll taxes that when you retire. It's very important.
Very important to know. Okay, so JoEtta, you have now taken on the national office of Executive Vice President for the Alliance group. All right, help us understand real quickly, what is the description of your job here? Does it entail going back and forth to Washington, D.C.? Does it entail addressing groups of people throughout the nation? What is the purpose for you right now with what you're doing?
All of that and similar things. I just did a radio show too about Social Security, protecting Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And it's a real challenge. I work mostly with community-based groups. There is a board for the Alliance of 44 members, and that board is mostly made up of affiliate unions, some of your biggest unions in the nation, and international unions. But the community-based group is people that come from senior centers, senior homes, faith-based groups. We're encouraging them to become part of this.
Because they're strong voters.
They're strong
That's a
voters,
huge block of voters.
And they're a voice into a different group of people.
Yes.
Because we need to work together for the same issues. And the Alliance is now 4 million members. We've grown tremendously. We're in 39 states, and we are getting ready to charter 5 new states before the end of the year. I'm very excited. I've been a member of the Alliance through the Nevada Alliance for Retired Americans for more than 8 years.
So let me ask you this, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of listeners and viewers out there. Why does Medicare need to be protected? What's happening with those benefits that maybe a lot of seniors are unaware of yet? I know just from a personal example with my husband's surgery, which was major that he needed to have, my secondary insurance policy said, if Medicare doesn't cover that, neither do we. And that was kind of a shock.
I haven't heard that. That is not good, yes.
So what concerns me, I believe, is as I am a senior citizen, my husband is a senior citizen, and all of us who look to some form of, it's a benefit, but some sort of step up to the side, helping out. Is that going to change radically?
I believe so. We're working to protect it as well as Social Security. Medicare will celebrate its 50th year next year. It was signed into law, I have that too, by Lyndon Johnson in 1965, June 30th. So we are celebrating that. It too has continued to deliver what it promised when it was initiated. And it is solvent, just like Social Security. And then we have Medicaid, which is another whole area of delivering health services.
Right. So now that we have, and I'm not here to discuss, the Affordable Care Act or, the Obamacare, but what I'm always concerned about, those people who really need insurance have a choice of having it, of having it. And that's important for families, it's important for children, it's important for all of us as a nation. So what do we have to worry about that could be taken away in terms of senior citizens? What might happen that Medicare would not be able to deliver, or Social Security would not be able to deliver on its promises?
There has been a lot of discussion about privatizing Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, which would be horrific. Remember, I said before, for 75 years, the length of time that Social Security has been enacted, it continued to deliver what it promised based on what you paid into it. And the same with Medicare and Medicaid. To make it a political football game, for lack of a better description, on the backs of seniors who have worked. Our generation has worked. I'm not saying others have not, but we have worked for 30 years or more.
Yes.
I also am concerned about raising the retirement age. How many people die before they even get their retirement because they've raised the age?
Many.
Or like my husband, who passed away and didn't get the full benefits of his retirement from Social Security.
And he was how old?
Jimmy was 74.
Okay.
So 74, you take that figure and you take what he was getting monthly and you take a third of it or a fourth of it and you make it part of the survivors. That's really difficult.
Right.
So I caution people in that they need to think about what happens. They need to protect themselves, because I did think about what if I did not have any insurance whatsoever? What would I do? It's not my children's responsibility to do that. That's the husband and wife. Certainly, if they can help, that's important. But life is very, very different. Every day is different.
And you bring me back to a situation about 2 decades ago when my father died, and he did not believe in insurance, and he did not pay into Social Security because he didn't want the government taking care of him. That was his thinking.
Yes, a lot of people think that.
All right, very independent thinker. Now, when he died, my mother did not have any insurance. She had to wait for things to kind of, the dust to settle, et cetera, to figure out what she was going to do. Fortunately, like you, she was a banker and very good with math. So she said, I need to take a look at the stock market page. I need to familiarize myself. So she did, and she became an investor and did very well. But she often said to my sister and to me, what would you have done if your mother had not been capable of doing that? And having the longevity, the lifespan that she did until 99, and perfectly alert until the very end to take care of all that. So that got both my sister and I to thinking, because we need to keep up to date. It's not here at the end of our nose that we need to be thinking. It's out there down the road.
Right.
And are we willing to take the responsibility for ourselves?
Well, women must. I remember when I was a branch manager in the bank, I would have any number of women who would come in with passbooks or checkbooks and say, does this belong? Is this money? They didn't know.
Yep.
Did their husbands keep it from them? I'm not sure. But they were unaware that all these years they had money. And I remember one in particular who said, so I really do have this money. I said, yes. And he kept telling me I couldn't have a new kitchen. Okay, she said, what do I have to do? The next time I saw her, maybe 3 months later, she was a totally different woman. She wasn't frumpy anymore. She wasn't overly dressed, but she looked really well. And she wanted to know about her money. She wanted to know what to do with it, how to manage it, how to balance a checkbook, all of that. Women need to be aware. Our girls need to be aware. Our young men need to be aware how to manage your own money.
And this is an interesting kind of end note, but I have seen in young people's marriages where he decides, the groom, he'll manage his money, she'll manage hers. It's never our money. So it doesn't bring them together in a good, solid financial conversation. You know, butting heads, knocking ideas off of each other, which is really an important part of establishing, okay, where are our values, what are our goals, how do we get there, step by step.
We don't have time to talk about home ownership, which is another huge part of building a family and a foundation, is home ownership, not the car that an 18-year-old really wants when they should be thinking about maybe a piece of real estate.
Yes.
By the time they're 21, setting some goals for financial security.
Yes.
Before I forget, Carol, I want to give you this. This is from the Alliance from Retired Americans. We're the only organization that does this kind of piece. We do our research. It is the voting record of our elected Congress and Senate. You'll find it very informative. We do it once a year, and we distribute it to people like you. And when I go out and make presentations, I give it to people there.
Thank you so much. I'm going to check on every senator, every legislator I know in the state
They're
of
in
Nevada.
there.
Okay.
They're all in there.
And I want to say thank you again so
thank you.
much
Thank
for
you
being
for
a
having
guest.
me.
Okay,
Yes.
it's always a pleasure. Come
Thank
back
you.
anytime.
Yes.
And again, thank you to our audience out there. I hope that this program has been informative and that it helps all of us, okay? And we'll see you next week with a brand new guest. In the meantime, stay well. Good night.
Hi, I'm Roy Halliday. As pet owners, we can help end the suffering of millions of dogs and cats. Animal shelters struggle to assist in huge numbers of animal litters. Many more suffer on the streets, never even reaching the safety of a shelter. My family does our part in making sure our pets are spayed and neutered. For more information, contact my friends at the Humane Society of the United States. Remember, pets are for life.
In business for over 5 years, Play Your Own Music offers music lessons from the best quality music instructors in the area. We also offer band instrument rentals, guitar repair, and we have a recording studio on site. Call us at 885-PLAY.
More homes are being threatened by wildfire than ever before.
At the National Weather Service, we anticipate critical fire weather conditions and issue red flag warnings. Red flag days occur when conditions are ideal for ignition and rapid spread of wildfire.
Please report smoke or unsafe activity by quickly calling 911 and don't assume someone already has.
Stay informed by frequenting weather.gov/Reno or following us on Facebook and Twitter.
A fire-adapted community is prepared to survive a wildfire with little or no firefighter assistance. To help prevent ignition by embers, remove dead and dying plants from around your home. Be sure to remove low-hanging branches and the flammable plants underneath your trees, also known as ladder fuels. Non-flammable plants and pathways create separation and help prevent fire from spreading to your home. Make it lean, clean, and green.
Visit livingwithfire.info for more tips to save your home.